Hi, everybody. Dr. B here, and it's time for online week 8. Let's begin with AP Chemistry. A copy of this will be made available to Classroom, and it'll include the slides. This is the link for those. And for AP Chemistry, here we go. This is the week we take the AP Chemistry exam. It's Thursday at 2 p.m. So last week we did a practice exam that was due recently, and I still have five students who have not submitted it. So if you can, please do. Remember, they accumulate minus 10% for each late day. At 10 a.m., we'll be having our normal Zoom meeting, and you should hear something very similar to this pre-recording here. It'll take less than 30 minutes. And then on Thursday, you take the AP exam, and that's it. Next week, nothing due, and we'll be going into alternative sorts of topics after that. Enrichment. And here's where we are. We've been checking this thing off since in the middle of March. And so we have gone through a practice exam, every single chapter in the Princeton Review. We should have done the entire book by now. A second practice exam last week. We omitted the omitted topics. And now we are up to time to take the exam. So I'll just go over mostly strategizing and making sure you take the exam properly. And there you go. Take it on Thursday. I'm very excited for you. So all sorts of check marks there. Yay. Okay, I think I'm going to play this video. And as we do, I'm going to walk through this. You can watch my little arrow here go through each thing. This goes from now until when the exam is over. We'll go from days to hours to minutes, and then you're done and life is good. So this should play and you should be able to listen to it.
This video will walk you through the AP 2020 exam's important steps and offer tips. 2 days before the exam, you will get an email with your AP ID and an e-ticket that will take you to your personalized exam. Check in 30 minutes before your exam starts. The first thing you'll do is enter your 8-character AP ID, and then fill out all your personal information. Note the timer at the bottom of the screen. Hit continue. The exam will automatically start when that countdown hits 0. And once it starts, the timer located at the bottom will count down how much time you have to read your question, craft your response, and submit it. If your exam has 1 question, you will have 50 minutes. If you have 2 questions, you will get 30 minutes for the first one and 20 minutes for the second one. If you are approved for extended time, it will be added automatically. The timer will turn red when you have 5 minutes left. That's when you should wrap up your work and start submitting your response. Once that timer hits 0, you will automatically be moved to the next question. This is important. You can get partial credit for a partial answer, but you will not get any credit if you submit nothing. You can use any device to take this exam: a desktop, laptop, tablet, or phone. If you're typing on a desktop or laptop, you can reduce the size of your browser window so you can see the question and your...
Okay, I think in the interest of time, I'll let you watch the rest of that at your convenience. It starts talking about just how you can submit things like that. I'll have more to say about that as we go through the slides. And there is some new info here based on my own demo test, so you probably found the same thing. Okay. All right, so let's go through this. I've got 4 videos here that you can watch. This first one is the one you've already watched, and here's some other ones. These are the same as last week, so if you've already seen them, just do what you want, but they're very helpful. These are their 4 main videos, so I'd go through that.
This year, you can take your AP exams online. Here.
Good. Okay. Now, before the test, there's a whole bunch of links you can click on. This is also the same as last week. Boy, did they provide a lot of information here. If you want to keep it simple, that first 5-minute video really contains just about everything. But here's all the other stuff if you want to see it. A 51-page testing guide, things like that. Our test is on Thursday, and the test began on Monday. And I know a lot of you already will have taken another one, physics, for example, or maybe calculus. Took place earlier in the week, and that makes it easier when you take this exam. So you'll be an old, experienced tester by the time you go on to multiple ones, and you'll have advice for your fellow students, which is good. If you have time and you want to continue to study, but your brain's kind of frazzled and you don't want to do anything too intense, I'd suggest just watching some of these AP Chemistry College Board videos. If nothing else, they'll put you to sleep. No, just kidding. But they're long, but they are good. They include a lot of that, how they want you to craft your answer, those key words they're looking for, things like that. And it's pretty mindless just to turn one on your phone and, just listen to it for a while. But that's one possible strategy. You guys can come up with your own if you need to. Okay, on the day of the test, so this is just another wind down of how it works on the day of the test. I've already talked about that. During the exam, I've already talked about that. You can pause any of these if you want to go through it again and just read the whole thing. That's fine. The big info that is important to me is that when do you submit during that 30-minute and 20-minute section? So when it turns red, you really need to do the submission. And then after the exam, you can sign in, and there's a deadline for that, but mostly just worry about taking the test now. All right, I'm going to cover something very important in here, so please stay with me. Here's the FAQ that I went through last week. It's been revised a little bit, so let's go through it and answer each of these in your head, and it'll help. Have the AP exams been canceled? I guess not. I do mention that because the IB exams got completely canceled, right? Final exams at our high school are canceled, but AP bravely soldiers on. When's the exam? It's May 14th at 2 p.m. What's on it? Just FRQs on only units 1 through 7 and only 2 questions. No thermo, no electrochemistry. And by thermo, I mean thermodynamics, the free energy stuff, not the Q equals MC delta T stuff. That's still on it. Calorimetry, yes. Free energy, no. Where do I take the AP chemistry exam? From the comfort of your own home, preferably in a closed room where your dog can't get in or your little brother. What are the new AP chemistry resources? There's a coronavirus update site. I haven't seen any big updates on that recently, but you should check that every day. At least check it once before the test starts. And that online course that is just lots and lots of videos, you should take that. Check that as well. How long is the AP chemistry exam? It's 50 minutes. That includes the submission time. What types of questions are on it? Just free response only, one short and one long. Long first, short second, 30, then 20. Can you still get college credit? You bet. What's been omitted? That's acids and bases, buffers, thermodynamic, and electrochemistry. Those are the important things. God, I didn't mention acids and bases before. That's an important one to point out that has been completely omitted. Is it open notes and open online? Yes, it is. There's lots of details about that. What can you do and not do? You can use notes. You can use online sources as long as they're not shared by a million people or modified during the test, something like that. No plagiarism and no communication with other people. Be in a closed little room where you can just do it and you won't be, bothered by anybody. Those are the things that are not on the exam. Pause that and check them all out if you need to. How many questions? 2. How long? 50 minutes. Can you go 40 and 10? No. Do you submit after each question? Okay, this is some of the new stuff here. Can you submit it after each question? You have to submit it after each question, and that does include the submit time. How much time to submit? 30 for the first one, 20 for the second one. Take that demo test, absolutely, so that you can get practice on it. Maybe take it more than once. I just did it this morning, and it was a real eye-opener for me. If you get extended time, it should be built in. And if I were you, there's a couple students in the class for which that applies, I'd contact guidance and say, are you sure I got my built-in extra time? And make sure you do. If you make a mistake, and I don't mean a computer mistake, but you just that you're working on the first 30-minute problem and you've messed it up, that number can't be right. Should you just take a break and move on to part B when they let you? Definitely not. Don't forget about this error carried forward. Say it's parts A through D, and part A is no way is it right. You got to do parts B, C, and D. They can give you up to full credit if you take an incorrect answer and move forward with it correctly. So absolutely keep moving forward. Once you hit the submit button, you won't have a chance to change that one, which is good in a way. I mean, just out of sight, out of mind. But don't just say, oh, this is messed up, I'm going to quit early. You'd be surprised how much partial credit you get on it. Also, don't forget that for most people, the AP exam is a humbling exam for which you will get things wrong. I mean, there's like 1 or 2 students per year of the 110,000 who take it who get a perfect score. Everybody else makes mistakes. So just, that's part of the system. Work with that. Should you take it on your phone? This is the brand new thing and probably the most important thing that I want to say, and I welcome your comments. And based on the demo test, I'd say yes. I recommend, and you do it any way you want, but I recommend you take it using your cell phone. That way, when you take pictures of your handwritten answers, it's so much easier. I don't recommend you type out your answers because there's likely to be too much math on it. But if you did, it's also much easier to attach them if you've got the phone right there. It goes directly to it. If you say you took the exam on a laptop, but you got to take a picture with your phone, then you've got to email it to yourself, that kind of thing. It's a pain. So just take it with the phone directly, and it's what you're used to anyhow. And that way, when you go to take your pictures and practice this with the demo test, it's right there and it's easy. And when you click through each one, they go in order, that sort of thing. All right, so fine. Yes. Should you answer on your laptop or write it by hand? I really think if you just write it by hand the old-fashioned way, you'll be glad you did. There's all these bizarre rules for how to type out a mathematical answer, stuff like that. Why bother with that? Just write it by hand. What specifically is omitted? I've already gone through that. Is typing acceptable? Handwritten, line paper, unlined, lined? My recommendation, and this is just a recommendation, you just do it any way you want, is no, I would not type it. I would do it handwritten. I would use personally a friction pen. It has to be blue or red or number 2 pencil. But I like the friction pens. They erase so cleanly and they come out so nice. You can use a number 2 pencil if you want. You can use a Sharpie if you want, but that would be pretty brave since you'd be crossing things out. And if you do cross things out, don't think like they're going to take points off and you have to cross it out a million times so they can't see what you've written. No, just draw a clean line through it. But why bother? Just do it, use an erasable pen or pencil. Lined paper, for sure I would use lined. It just comes out neater, and when you're writing your calculations, it'll come out fine. If you draw an image, it'll come out fine. Lined paper, yes. That's written twice. If I type, can I attach or paste the answers? Yes, you can. You could just if it's all type, you could just paste it, which means you don't have to find the file. I don't recommend that, but you could. If you type it and you want to attach it, you can do that as well. And here are the keywords that I've already shown. Can you go back after submitting? No, and that's probably the most likely form of an error. Let me make a very important point, and that is that if you have 3 or 4 pages for, say, the 30-minute answer, if you hit the first one, it'll then you'll have the choice of attaching more photos or hitting submit. If you hit submit, you can't attach those other photos. I know that sounds scary, but let me say that again. If you're attaching multiple photos of your answers, and you probably will be, I don't know. It'd be nice if you answered it all on one page. You wouldn't have to worry about it. So I might start right at the top and write, reasonably small, just in case it all fits on one page. Wouldn't that be sweet? But if you do need more than one page, don't hit submit after the first one, okay? I don't know what they'd do if you did. I don't think they'd accept anything. They can't, People are going to try to write into them saying, I need to do it again. Now, if you did have an issue of some sort, like you had an electrical malfunction in the house, during it, something like that, deal with those individually. Let's assume that stuff isn't going to happen. Are you done after the second submission? Yeah, you just do it and they say, hey, thanks a lot, you're done. No more paperwork, nothing. If they make a mistake, well, that's why they've got the makeup. They also have the makeup so that if you made some sort of mistake or it was not your fault, they might let you take the makeup. Is it open book, open notes, open computer? Yes, but nothing is shared. Let me just say that my recommendation is don't be playing silly reindeer games of trying to game the system. You might think you have an advantage, but oh my God, if you get caught, it's horrible. I don't think I'm going to say too much more about that other than you really shouldn't cheat and you shouldn't have all sorts of, fancy systems in place. If you choose to do something like that, I don't know if you have a certain strategy in mind. If you talk to other people, it's at your own risk. All right, guys. So I would keep it simple, closed room. I would have another. If I took it on my phone, I'd have a laptop available. But I don't think I'd make too heavy use of it. Maybe if you had extra time, you could check something. But you know, that kind of thing I think could cause more trouble than it's worth, and that is what the College Board people say. Are there strategy sites? No doubt. I haven't checked them out much, but you should. A lot of the advice I've been giving is not based on like collaborating with a million teachers. I've mostly talked to just the other AP teachers at the high school. So if you guys have other information that you think is really relevant, please share it with each other and share it with me. Perhaps there's something we should all be aware of. Can you use the Princeton guides, notes, and tests? Well, we did do something I think that is working out really to our advantage, and that's we've got a nice clean book that at this point is completely highlighted, and I hope it's tabbed but not over tabbed. So if you're like, oh, I see a rates of reaction test, I think I'll just open to that page while I answer the question just in case. I think I'll look at my formula sheet that has the relevant formulas for that so I can remember all that stuff. Can you phone a friend? I'd say absolutely not. That's the kind of thing they'll check for. Will they catch you if you're texting while you take it? Probably. That's so easy for them to check. Will they catch you if you take it with a classmate? I would think. I'm not sure how, but I don't know. Be careful. Don't do stuff like that. It's cheating. Can I go to help sites online? General ones, you could go to, I don't know, like it's something that's no more than like the Wikipedia or something like that. I think you are allowed to go to that, but you can't go to something that is like updating based on, hey, we heard there's a question on this, and here's what you should do. There's probably some red flag sites that might be a big no-no, and you'd be in deep trouble if you did that. They'll have your IP address and blah, blah, blah. Just don't do it. Should you look up general info on the internet? I wouldn't even. I'd just take it regular, and then if I had extra time, I would. But why? Should you use Reddit or Discord? Yikes, no. Can I use Word and Google Docs I made online? I would just print out anything you want. You are allowed to have anything printed out in advance, and I'll have more to say that in a minute. They do check for cheating by they've hired spies that use directional microphones. They wear black outfits with a black hat, generally sunglasses, but you can usually identify them by the kind of shoes they wear. They wear these sort of like business sort of regular shoes. I'm just kidding about all that. No, really, I wouldn't cheat. Strategy for the exam. Now, this is modified since last week after I took the demo test myself, so let me know if you agree with this. Here's what I would do. I'd find a room and I'd say, Mom, can you make sure nobody bothers me? I got this exam at 2, so can you just like have my younger brother go sleep over at that friend's house or something? You got a closed room, your dog's not in it, and 30 minutes before you got it all set up, ready to go. I'd have probably 10 sheets of paper. It's crazy, but maybe. One nice thing about doing this is that if you set up your little sheets of paper in advance and you hate your answer and you want to throw it out, you just throw it out and you got another one ready to go. I guess I wouldn't number them in advance in case number 1 becomes number 2. This is once again the great advantage of using an erasable pen or pencil. So you can erase it. That's your ID number and your initials. For some reason, all they need is your initials, not your real name there. Have several pens or pencils. They're supposed to be blue or red or number 2 pencil. Have a calculator for sure. There's no limitation, I should point out, probably to what sort of built-in programs you could have in your calculator, which is different, right? But as long as it's not something that's online and like, incorporates some kind of cheating technique. Let's see. Um, the upline paper I recommend, initials, yeah, 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 yeah. There you are. And I'd recommend your phone. Take it on your phone with a stand on it. That's what I did anyhow. I mean, that's not a big deal, but that I would do. One thing I would probably do is I would not have 8 other things open on your phone and be using your phone for other things, or texting a friend during the test that has nothing to do with cheating, but to like saying, "Oh, this is so hard." Just don't do anything like that. I would just take the test. I would use your phone, but I wouldn't use it for anything else. That's what your laptop is for. I would use my laptop for resources, things like that. I would have our trusty AP chemistry guide open, maybe tabbed for each thing. And if there was some sort of summary problem that you think, hey, I think they're going to ask this, you could have that out. I would have our very convenient, I wouldn't use their form of the AP periodic table. It's just bare bones. It doesn't even list what the element is named. I would use our super helpful one, or any one of your choice, or both. We do have an AP chemistry equation sheet that lists just about all the equations on one sheet. Maybe I would have the ones that they use, their official AP chemistry equation sheets. You can find them on the class website. I don't like it very much, but you could use it. And you could have any other pages ready to go that you think might be handy. Maybe you think they're going to do a summary problem and you've got it pre-answered, and maybe you'll be lucky and it's like that. Will it be? I doubt it. One-page chapter summaries. And something very important I want to mention is that between now and the actual exam test of the exam time, email me anytime you want for anything you want. I think I know a website that had some really good one-page chapter summaries, and I'm going to make them available if I can find them. Talk to your other students, maybe they have them. That seems like a nice thing to have. Almost certainly, their questions are going to cover multiple chapters for each question. Would you agree? But even so, I think these would be helpful. And that's about it in terms of the setup. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Good luck, everybody, on the AP exam. It's been just a fantastic class, one of the best classes, if not the best class I've ever had. I do think we have a very, very, very strong class. I think scores will be high. I think you guys have been fantastic, and I look forward to meeting up with you guys when it's all done, and when we can finally meet again. That would be so nice. I'll have more to say about this as time goes on, but for now, good luck, everybody, and email me any questions you have.